Honored graduates, please rise for the arrival of the platform party and remain standing for the national anthem and the invocation.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
As we gather together on this joyful occasion, let us quiet our minds and hearts and put ourselves in the presence of the sacred. O God, source of all wisdom, you who are truth itself, give these graduates the gift of true wisdom and a desire to hand it on to others. You who are all-wise, know that true wisdom is found in absorbing the lessons of those who have gone before us. These graduates have labored many long hours and years to learn these lessons, and we rejoice in their accomplishments today. Yet let us not forget that true scholarly greatness is founded on humility, and this humility consists in self-knowledge and our willingness to recognize you in yourself and you in those we meet. You who are all generous in giving your gifts, We are deeply grateful for these graduates and all they have achieved. We are also grateful for all those who helped them to arrive at this day: grandparents, parents, siblings, teachers, coaches, friends, and mentors. Without their sacrifices, this day would not be possible. They supported them, even when the labor of the academic life seemed overwhelming. You who are the greatest of all teachers, give these young scholars a willingness to teach others, even when teaching seems overwhelming. Grant them a burning desire to hand on what they have received. Blessed as they have been, permit them to be instruments of your blessing in others' lives. In doing so, may they bring honor to this institution, themselves, their families, and to you. We ask all these things in your holy name. Amen.
Good afternoon and welcome. Please be seated. My name is Andrew G. Campbell, Dean of the Graduate School. It is my privilege to welcome you to the Graduate School Commencement ceremony at Brown University. While there are many things that will be different about today's ceremony than in past years, I am comforted and inspired to see you here today, dressed in regalia, as has been the tradition at Brown for more than 250 years. Let me begin by honoring Brown's graduating master's and doctoral students. Today, we recognize your dedication and your achievements. Whether you are here with us in person or join us remotely, we're extremely proud of what you have accomplished in your time here at Brown. I also want to welcome the families and friends who join us from around the world virtually. Thank you for supporting our students during their academic and personal journeys. And finally, I want to recognize the faculty and staff who helped our students reach this significant endpoint in their academic training. You have been invaluable mentors, advisors, and thought partners, providing critical support, guidance, and inspiration. Today, we continue our tradition of honoring those who pursue and achieve excellence by awarding degrees to our graduates and installing them as lifelong members of the Brown community. Let us begin by introducing the members of the platform party who will join me today to celebrate your remarkable accomplishments and to oversee the final steps of your transformation from students to graduates and alums at this ceremony. To your far left is Dean of the School of Professional Studies, Leah Van Wey, who will lead the symbolic hooding of master's students later in the ceremony. Next to her is Thomas A. Lewis, Associate Dean of Academic Affairs and Deputy Dean of the Graduate School. Dean Lewis will lead the symbolic hooding of doctoral students. Just to my right is President of Brown University, Christina Paxson, who will make remarks and lead the Conferral of Degrees. To my left is Chancellor of Brown University, Sam Menkoff, who will share an Expressions of Joy video with you at the end of our ceremony. Next to him is Father Edmund McCulloch, Associate Chaplain of the University for the Roman Catholic Community. Next, we have our doctoral student speaker, Bardia Akbari. And on the far side of the stage is Rabbi Michelle Dardashti, Associate Chaplain of the University for the Jewish Community and Rabbi for Brown RISD Hillel. This past year has been like none we have ever experienced. You may be weary of hearing the sentiment, but it is no less true. As you sit here, spaced apart, knowing that your friends and family and many of your peers are watching from a distance, please know I'm very glad you are here to celebrate this moment. I've always said that Brown University is a place filled with remarkable people who do remarkable things. And today on this green and in front of the world, we honor you, our graduates, for your remarkability. No matter what your degree or discipline, graduate school has been challenging. and it has been even more so during a global pandemic, when the situation around us changed so rapidly, yet some things have remained the same. At the end of the semester, you worked hard to finish your dissertation, thesis, capstone project, or final exam. You sought support from your family, friends, and peers, and you succeeded. When we reflect back on 2020 and 2021, we will remember how technology like Zoom became the norm rather than the exception. We will remember how the fastest vaccine ever to date was developed. And we will remember how it felt to witness a summer of racial unrest, impacting each of us differently. You may also remember that while all of these events were happening, you were simultaneously balancing your coursework, your writing, your experiments, your health, and many other commitments. Despite these obligations, you have finished your degree requirements and met the essential steps to graduate today. As a Brown University graduate, your future will be shaped by what you have done to earn your degree and what you have learned about yourself and your area of expertise along the way. My hope is that you will take all of this knowledge with you into the next phase of your journey. Now, it is my honor to introduce our master's speaker, Sonia Brooks. She was selected by the Graduate Student Council to address you today. Sonia is receiving her Master's of Arts degree in Urban Education Policy and joins us today from Oakland, California. At Brown, Sonia took part in the Brown Executive Scholars Program, and after commencement, she will enroll in a PhD program in urban schooling in California. Ultimately, she aspires to find a career that combines advocacy work with policy expertise. She shares the following reflection of this year, and I quote, "The connection I have with my cohort is incredible. In spite of the chaos of our lives and of the pandemic, the universe aligned and we ended up here with each other, creating this cadre of lifelong friendships and relationships. It astounds me how aligned we are in our purpose, even though we come from all different walks of life, all different parts of the country and world. It always occurs to me how, if we hadn't all experienced similar trajectories or paradigm shifts or shocks to the system, we would probably not be here." Sonia's speech is entitled, "Our Connection in Chaos."
First, giving all honor and glory to the author and finisher of my faith. I begin by paying homage to the lands upon which Brown University occupies, the lands and the territories of the Narragansett, the Wampanoag, the Nipmuc, the Pequot, and Neontic nations. I would be remiss if I did not, too, pay homage to the Africans upon whose labor Brown University was built. Lest we not forget the over 500,000 Americans whose lives were claimed by COVID. We honor you. The year of 2020-2021 has been the most tumultuous year of our lives. COVID-19, the Black Lives Matter revolution, the attacks on our DACA and UNDOC and LGBTQIA+ and Asian communities, and even the terrorism against the government of this country, but yet we have persevered. Welcome. We master students from the Urban Education Policy Program, Doctors Wong, DeGabel, Kraft, Collins, Thomas, Kazelbosch, and Tyler, the Master of Arts and Teaching Program, the Life and Social Sciences, the Humanities, the Executive Master's Programs, Doctors Ryan, Robinson, DeLaLue, Duncan, Brown University administrators, families, and friends. As we look around this space that occupies us, we must realize how vastly different our lives are. We come from so many different walks of life, different socioeconomic statuses, different ages, communities, religions, and beliefs. And yet with all of these differences, there were tears that were shed that somehow changed a trajectory or caused a paradigm shift that has led us here today. These tears may have called us from the precipice of defeat or of despair. And it was at that time that an awakening occurred. An awakening to do something different, to do something better, or to do something radically. This awakening occurs when one realizes that they are going nowhere and they do not know how to get there. This is the place where a recharge occurs. And this recharge may come in the form of a new direction, a new idea, new dreams, and new degrees. It is also the time when one ceases from judging their own life by the sounds that others make, the time when one is free from the syndrome that tells us that we are imposters, the time when there is a synergy between clarity and purpose, for the plans are for a hope and a future. And you know, when you think about it, it is actually quite amazing. The Creole sharecroppers from Louisiana who fled to California after being sick and tired of the horrors of segregation and racism vowed that their children would never see nor feel the same. It was those tears that led you to whom you see in front of you today. Or perhaps it was the cries of a nation over the loss of over 500,000 lives that caused a shock to the system requiring a vaccine to help combat COVID-19. Or maybe it was the tears shed that resulted in the Civil Rights Act, Brown v. Board, Voting and Immigration Rights Acts. Or maybe, just maybe, it was the cries of a world whose existence was jettisoned into action because of the murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Oscar Grant, Emmett Till, and LaTosha Harlan. The cries that highlighted the need for immediate measures to be taken against racial terrorism in our own nation. These lamentations are not cause for us to remain seated and stagnant. Oh no, it is a call to action for such a time as this. You see, we must call into action the creation and curation of spaces for communities that would otherwise not be heard, for inequality asphyxiates hope. This is a call to not be passionate about our doubts, but instead realize that we cannot see the beauty in humankind if we only encompass fear. This call into action requires us to acknowledge that the fate of the wounded often lies in the hands of those who first apply the bandage, our educators in our communities. And if we hearken to that call of first applying the bandage, we must realize that the biological datum that separates us is only 1/16 of an inch where our melanin lies, which means that all students have the ability to learn, all students have the ability to be exceptional, and all have the ability to be here in front of you today. You see, Harriet Tubman, or Minty, as they would call her, she said it best. She says, you got to find what it means for you to be a soldier, as we cannot afford to just be citizens in a time of war. Now that would be surrender, and ain't nobody get to sit this one out. You see, for such a time as this is a call for us to do good work and be good problems, mending the gap between what needs to be done and doing it. As I stand on the shoulders of those who have done it, Darren Walker, Tamika Mallory, Dr. Samuel Nabbert, Dr. Ruth Simmons. Therefore, we must honor those moments when our emotive responses nudge us along the road that aligns us with our purpose, that aligned us here as graduates from Brown University. For this is what has happened in my cohort, where some of the most beautiful cadre of relationships and friendships have been formed. A connection that resulted in our entire class changing our profile pictures in Zoom to one of our professor. And boy, was he shocked. Or when our connection caused us to advocate for one another, when the exogenous reasons highlighted systemic challenges that were too heavy to manage alone. Our connections are quite amazing and profound. Alone, we are a single thread, but woven together, those threads makes the caps and gowns that we are wearing. And in closing, for those of us who may not have known providence, the word providence literally means God, especially when conceived as omnisciently directing the universe and the affairs of humankind with wise benevolence. Regardless of which box you check for religion, there is no denying that with all of the different places from whence we come around this planet, all of our roads have led us to being here in Providence for such a time as this. And yes, this cisgendered victor of domestic violence, #MeToo survivor, college dropout, first gen, UCLA graduate with honors, mother of 3 beautiful children whose ancestors were stolen from their homeland in shackles, and whose Native American Blackfoot ancestors survived the smallpox pandemic. I too have shed a tear or two, or 2 million. And it has caused me to draw on the strengths of my ancestors, my cohort, NABRIT, the Brown Executive Scholars Training Fellowship, the Graduate Student Council, and my fellow Brown University graduates. For if I had not paid attention to those lagrimas that caused me to pivot and change my trajectory to one of where my destiny lies, I would not be here graduating from Brown University and on my way to obtaining my PhD in urban schooling, for it is such a time as this. So there is a sacredness in tears. They are not the mark of weakness, but of power. They speak more eloquently than 10,000 tongues, says Washington Irving. And they have led us here in connection with one another. And this is only the beginning. My wish for you, the 2021 graduating class of Brown University, is to have an Ephesians 3:20 life as you leap into your destiny. Rest in paradise, Dad. We did it. Congratulations to the 2021 master's graduates of Brown University. Ashe.
Thank you to Sonia. Next, we will hear from Bardari Akbari, who received his PhD in biomedical engineering. He was also selected by the Graduate Student Council. Bardari studied mechanical engineering as an undergraduate at Sharif University of Technology in Tehran. As a master's student at the University of Kansas, he discovered a career path in biomedical engineering. As a PhD student, Bardari worked with Professor Trey Crisco to design a model wrist joint replacement that could someday make its way into operating room, easing wrist pain that millions experience due to arthritis and prior joint injuries. He plans to seek out a postdoctoral position and a career in academia. Bardari shares the following about his time at Brown, and I quote, "Because we went to Brown, we had the ability to help others, to take their hands and lift them up. Many people have lost their jobs or their health care during this pandemic. We are lucky. In the middle of all this madness, we finished our doctoral and master's programs. We need to use our luck and our degrees to help others." His address is entitled Bani Adam, One Essence and Soul.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Dean Campbell. That was a great introduction. Hello, everyone. Such a beautiful day today. After that marathon of taking courses, staying up all night, getting ready for meetings and studying for exams, experimenting in the lab or the field, and the last year, oh well, we are here. Some of us are here. Some of us are at home watching remotely. And only a few of us are here, sitting physically distanced apart. I'm sure our families are watching too, probably crying tears of joy. Moms, dads, You asked us hundreds of times about our graduation date. I'm going to answer that as the voice of everyone here. Today is the day we are graduating. I'm honored to be here. I want to thank the Graduate Student Council for giving me this opportunity. And I want to thank President Paxson, Dean Campbell, Provost Locke, Provost Prasad, Provost Paloma, Dean Suarez, and especially Dean Shana Kessel for trusting me along the way. Directly or indirectly, they gave me the courage and the reason to stand in front of all of you. I will make sure to make them, my family, and my friends proud. I will also make sure to show you engineers can talk in public without jargon. I'm standing in front of you because of what Brown University, these people behind me, and you mean to me. I want to tell you a story of an Iranian boy who had the smallest comfort zone and was so happy in it that he was even scared of speaking in his native language, Farsi, for a group of friends. I tell you how and why a boy who couldn't speak English 7 years ago, when he came to the US to pursue his American dream, is now giving a speech in English, and not any speech, and not to any audience. He is giving a PhD graduation speech for the class of 2021 in front of one of the most educated communities and in one of the best schools in the world. Please give yourselves a round of applause. You all deserve it. I left my family, friends, and community 7 years ago. I had only one purpose when I came here, to grow up and learn whatever I can. I admired the individualistic lifestyle here. I loved it. I was telling myself, people around you are not going to stay from now on. So man up, pick some battles, fight some of them, you'll get there. But about 4.5 years ago, so many things happened around the same time that changed my life. I joined Brown, and unsettling rhetoric was getting more attention around the country, and then the travel ban banned me from seeing the only other thing I had beside me, the hope of seeing my family. I was lost and lonely. At the end of September 2017, I was reading our graduate student listserv emails. Everything is... The whole world is shaking. So I was reading our graduate student listserv emails, and I saw an email with the title of Public Narrative Workshop. All day, Hope Club, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Free food in the famous fancy Hope Club? I love free food, so I signed up. In that event, no student showed up. Only faculty were there, and they were talking to me like they were talking to their friends. In Iran, these people are unreachable. I was intimidated. I wanted to get out, but breakfast was really good. So I sat down. Then Provost Locke showed up. I was scared and confused, wondering, why are all these people here? Is this a secret society or what? My heartbeat was racing, and my small comfort zone was already shaking. Provost gave a short speech, and it was a personal story that made me feel like Provost is my closest friend. He ended his speech by reciting, if not you, then who? If not now, then when? That meeting showed me you don't have to be born in the same country to be in a community. For the first time in the US, I didn't feel alone. I saw beyond myself. When it was just me, I had to fight my battles alone, and I was happy and proud. But with my community, I knew I'm unstoppable. That's why I'm standing here. I'm privileged and humbled, but I also feel pressured. We are graduating from one of the best schools in the world with the highest degree that we humans have created. This is big. The spotlight is on us today, and it's well-earned and well-deserved. We worked hard to push the boundaries of research just a little bit. We worked many days from early mornings to late nights, struggling with details and problems, sacrificing our social lives to get this comma PhD at the end of our name. But to me, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. It's an amazing feeling and proud accomplishment that I bet you all have, like me. But I'm here to say that I believe that more luck or a brighter spotlight brings more responsibilities. We all, no matter our race, gender, ethnicity, language, hometown, are the lucky ones, and we'll have the spotlight with us forever. I feel that we have a responsibility to the unlucky ones. You might be worried about what your next chapter is about or what might happen next, but I want to tell you that I'm not worried about you, but I am worried about those unlucky ones whose lives you can change, but you choose not to by focusing too much on yourself. I don't want to sound arrogant or make us feel our brand or this degree should make us feel superior, because I'm sure you don't feel that, and you also find it humbling. The pandemic was awful, and it showed us the unbearable lightness of our lives, but it also showed our perseverance and determination that we can do anything we set our minds to. This pandemic also shows us that there are so many unlucky ones who can't celebrate this day because they were born in the wrong family or wrong country, or they did not have the second, third, and fourth chance that we all had. It is up to the fortunate ones to minimize the role of luck. Thinking about a collective goal is hard, but I'm here to tell you that I found the solution that can get you out of this individualistic lifestyle. Show up. Just show up. It doesn't matter if you're planning to stay in academia to educate the next generation of doctors, or become a researcher and push the boundaries of science, or move on to the industry to make perfect products that can change our world, or enter politics to change our lives directly. But don't stay happy in your comfort zone. The day I went to that workshop, I wasn't looking for a sense of purpose or my community. I was looking for food somewhere fancy. You won't know what is waiting for you if you don't show up. So when they call you, call back. When they don't call you, volunteer, stand up, and take a lead of something that you care about. We have the credentials for it, and we are the fortunate ones. We are not allowed to stay on the sidelines. Fighting your own battles is fun and makes you feel proud, but let's not fight our battles alone. Let's not pick some, fight some. Let's fight them all. What I experienced and learned at Brown University reminds me of the first poem I learned on the first days of school in Iran. The poem is written in 13th century by Sadi, a prominent Iranian poet. And it is titled Bani Adam, which means humans. And it says, Bani Adam a'zai yekdigarand ke dar afarinsh ze yek goharand. Human beings are members of a whole in the creation of one essence and soul. Let's not forget that. Congratulations to you and your families, my friends.
Thank you, Bardia. Well done. Thank you. It is now time to present the Graduate School Doctoral and Master's Awards and the Graduate Student Council Staff Awards. Please turn to the screen to hear my colleagues present these honors.
Welcome. I'm Leah Van Wy. I'm Dean of the School of Professional Studies here at Brown and Professor of Environment and Society and Sociology. Thank you for joining us today to recognize our graduates. I will present 3 awards recognizing the academic, professional, and citizenship achievements of our master's students. The recipients are nominated by their departments for these awards, and then the final selections are made by the university's Graduate Council. The first award is for Outstanding Academic Accomplishment which recognizes academic accomplishments such as published or unpublished papers, essays, presentations, performances, or other works demonstrating superior accomplishment. This year's winner is Marissa Lynn Bennett. Today, she will receive a Master of Science degree in biotechnology. Congratulations, Marissa.
Thank you. And I would just like to thank Dr. Adam Chudovsky and Dr. Joanna Chudovska for allowing me to do my research in their lab, and also thank my family and friends for keeping me grounded throughout this time. Thank you.
Congratulations. Our next award is for professional excellence, which recognizes outstanding contributions that influence or contribute to the student's field or profession. The recipient this year is Thien Chin Lim, who is receiving his Executive Master degree in cybersecurity today. Congratulations, Thien Chin.
Thank you. I'm deeply honored and thrilled to be a recipient of this award. Coping with the work, family, and social life and executive program in tandem is a very gritty experience. I would like to give a shout out of gratitude to my family, colleagues, bosses, to make this experience a phenomenal and instrumental one. There's never a dull moment in cyber. The cohort has been great, and we have passionate educators, steadfast practitioners, which make this learning experience a memorable one. Thank you to all.
Great. Congratulations, Thien Chin. The final Master's Award today is for Engaged Citizenship and Community Service, which recognizes contributions to the Brown community, like involvement in departmental or university committees or campus-based initiatives to support students, or contributions to a larger community through advocacy or community engagement. This year's recipient is Giselle De Olio Gregory, who is receiving a Master of Arts degree in Urban Education Policy today. Congratulations, Giselle.
Thank you. I would like to thank Brown and the Graduate School for this award. I share this honor with my amazing UAP cohort and faculty who have supported me throughout the entire journey. Thank you to the Rhode Island Department of Education for allowing me to contribute to the advancement of family engagement for multilingual learners and their families. My deepest gratitude to all my mentors for always believing in my work and talents. I am here today because of you. And of course, to all my family members who have made endless sacrifices. Mami y papi, también comparto este reconocimiento con ustedes. Gracias por todos sus sacrificios, amor y apoyo. Los amo con todo mi corazón. Thank you.
Great, congratulations. Congratulations to all our Master's Award winners. Co-Deputy Deans of the Graduate School, Thomas Lewis and Vanessa Ryan, will now present our Joukowsky Dissertation Awards.
Good afternoon. I'm Thomas A. Lewis, Co-Deputy Dean and Associate Dean of Academic Affairs at the Graduate School. Thank you for joining us today as we recognize some of our most talented scholars. This next award is named for the Joukowsky family, who has shown great generosity to the university over many years. We were greatly saddened when Brown benefactor and Chancellor Emeritus Artemis Joukowsky passed away at the end of 2020 at the age of 89. We wish his family could be with us here today to celebrate these awards and his continued legacy. With these prizes, we recognize outstanding achievements in research by doctoral students across the disciplines. Recipients were nominated by their departments, and final selections were made by the Graduate Council. Our Joukowsky Dissertation Prize for a student in the life sciences goes to Botai Xuan, who is receiving his PhD in molecular pharmacology and physiology. The title of his dissertation is Unraveling the Contributions of Polyploidal Giant Cancer Cells in Cancer Progressions. Congratulations, Botai.
Thank you, Dean Lewis, and it's been a great honor to receive this award, and of course, I would like to thank my PI, Dr. Michelle Dawson, and the rest of the Dawson Lab for their support.
The Joukowsky Dissertation Award in the Social Sciences is awarded to Mallory Matsumoto, who's receiving her PhD in anthropology. Her dissertation is entitled Sharing Script, Development and Transmission of Hieroglyphic Practice Among Classic Maya Scribes. Congratulations, Mallory.
Thank you, Dean Lewis. It's an honor to be receiving the Joukowsky Dissertation Award this year, and I'd like to thank the Graduate School and the Department of Anthropology for the many opportunities they've given me, and then particularly to my mentors in the Department of Anthropology, Steve Houston, Andrew Scher, and Kaja Fodry.
Thank you. Now, my co-deputy dean, Vanessa Ryan, will share the winners in the other disciplines.
Good afternoon. My name is Vanessa Ryan, and I am the Associate Dean of Student Development and Co-Deputy Dean at the Graduate School. I'm delighted to join you this afternoon to announce our final 2 Joukowsky Awards. The Joukowsky Dissertation Award in the Physical Sciences goes to Cyrus Cousins, who is receiving his PhD in Computer Science. The title of his work is Bounds and Applications of Concentration of Measure in Fair Machine Learning and Data Science. Congratulations, Cyrus.
Thank you, Vanessa. You know, when I first started here at Brown, I imagined I'd make some modest contributions to specific and possibly esoteric fields of computer science, in particular, statistical machine learning. However, in the last few years, I've seen the impact of machine learning systems on society at large, and in general, seen how the world has transformed by the power of computers. And I've increasingly seen it as my responsibility to engage in work that can correct for some of these problems we see in society. I see the Joukowsky Award as a recognition of the impact of my work, not only to particular fields of machine learning where it's most relevant, but also as its impact beyond just the sciences into the humanities and on the world at large. So once again, I'd like to thank you for this amazing recognition.
The final Joukowsky Dissertation Award for a student in the humanities goes to Nicolás Antonio Campisi, who is receiving his PhD in Hispanic Studies. The title of his dissertation is The Return of the Contemporary, the Latin American Novel in the End Times. Congratulations, Nicolás.
Thank you, Vanessa, for that presentation. I would like to thank the Brown Graduate School for this award, and especially my dissertation advisor, Professor Michelle Clayton, whose support and continuous input made the writing process much more enriching. I also would like to thank the rest of my dissertation committee for always believing in my project. My dissertation looks at a corpus of contemporary Latin American novels to understand the origins of some of our most pressing issues, the origins of the climate crisis or the socioeconomic precariousness that Latin American countries faced after the full embrace of neoliberalism in the 1990s. Writing the last pages of the dissertation during a global pandemic served as a reminder that literature still has a lot of potential for diagnosing the problems of the present and imagining alternative futures. Thank you again to the Brown Graduate School for supporting my work throughout the past 6 years and for recognizing it with this award.
Congratulations on your outstanding contributions to scholarship. And now, the President of Brown's Graduate Student Council, Catherine Thompson, will share our 2 final awards.
Hello, my name is Catherine Thompson, and I'm the President of the Graduate Student Council. I'm pleased to announce the recipients of 2 staff awards that are given on behalf of all graduate students to express our appreciation for the recipients' dedication and commitment to graduate students here at Brown University. The Wilson DeBlois Award is named in honor of George Graffin Wilson and Austin Case DeBlois, recipients of Brown's first Doctor of Philosophy degrees in 1889. The recipient of this year's award is Maya Hallsmith, Diversity Initiatives Program Coordinator for the Graduate School. Congratulations, Maya.
Thank you so much, Catherine. It means so much to be nominated and to receive this award from the Graduate Student Council and the graduate student community. It's such an honor to work with you all and for you all. So thank you.
Thanks, Maya. The Bates Clapp Award is named for the first 2 women to receive master's degrees at Brown University. This year's winner is Eileen Caffrey Wright, who is the manager of the Global Health Initiative. Congratulations, Eileen.
Thank you so much, Catherine, and thank you so much to the Graduate Student Council. This award means so much to me. I'm so grateful and honored to be the recipient of this year's award. And congratulations to all the graduating students, and good luck in your next endeavors.
Thank you, Eileen. On behalf of the Graduate Student Council, congratulations to all of our awardees and to all of our graduating students.
Thank you. And to the recipients, I add my own congratulations for your outstanding contributions to scholarship and service to the university. We now turn to the Horace Mann Medal. This award was established in 2003 and is given annually to a Brown Graduate School alum who has made significant contributions in their field, inside or outside the academy. It is with great pleasure that I announce this year's Horace Mann Award recipient, Aries J. Rozakis. Dr. Rozakis earned his Master's of Science and Doctoral degree in Engineering from Brown University in 1980 and 1982, respectively, in the areas of solid mechanics and structures. He is currently the Theodore von Karman Professor of Aeronautics and Mechanical Engineering at the California Institute of Technology, where he started in 1982 as the Institute's youngest tenure-track faculty member. At Caltech, Dr. Rozakis serves as the chair of the Division of Engineering and Applied Science, overseeing the largest of the 6 academic divisions at the institution. Prior to this position, he served as the director of the Graduate Aerospace Laboratories, the parent institution of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Dr. Rozakis' research focuses on the fields of aerospace, solid mechanics, mechanics of materials failure, and the mechanics of earthquake seismology. During his career, he has made a number of notable contributions to his field. Dr. Rozakis collaborated with seismologists to design experiments that accurately mimic the movement of the Earth's crust during an earthquake in a controlled laboratory setting. His work has helped scientists better understand the release of energy from large earthquakes in the form of seismic waves and how to apply this information to create safer buildings and infrastructure. He pioneered the development of experiments aimed at the discovery and explanation of the physical processes involved in dynamic fracture and catastrophic failure of materials such as metals, polymers, metallic glass composites, layered solids, and frictional interfaces. His work has advanced the understanding of the mechanics of seismology, the physics of dynamic shear rupture, and frictional sliding and laboratory seismology. While studying the reliability of space materials and structures against meteoroid impact, he invented a number of full-field optical diagnostic techniques, including coherent gradient sensors, or CGS. By combining analytical models with the CGS measurements, Dr. Rozakis made influential advances to the mechanical reliability of microelectronic devices. As a world-leading researcher, Dr. Rozakis has also received many of the highest professional distinctions awarded to engineers. He was elected to the National Academies of Sciences in 2016, and the following year he was elected Honorary Fellow of the International Congress on Fractures and Fellow of the American Geophysical Union. He is also a member of the National Academy of Engineering and the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. Most recently, he received the prestigious Tomyshenko Medal of the American Society of Mechanical Engineers for his study of the mechanics behind earthquakes. This is the highest applied mechanics honor awarded from the society. He has published over 250 research articles and book chapters in peer-reviewed journals and is a holder of 13 US patents. Brown is extraordinarily proud to have Dr. Rozakis as an alum. He exemplifies the best of what Brown has to offer the academic world and beyond. Today, it is my distinct pleasure to acknowledge the contributions of Dr. Rozakis with the Horace Mann Medal. While Dr. Rozakis is not able to join us in person today, he would like to say a few words to our graduates.
Thanks very much, Dean Campbell, for the very flattering introduction and for your extremely kind words. It's a great pleasure to finally get to meet you by Zoom, and I hope that as soon as we can travel again, I will be able to shake your hand and thank you in person. What a fantastic honor this is. I would have never thought it in my wildest dreams when I landed in Providence almost 43 years ago that I would be chosen by the Brown Graduate School to receive this prestigious award. So let me briefly take you back to August 1978, when I boarded the plane to come from Athens to New York to take the connecting flight to the then tiny Providence Airport, and soon after to the newly constructed Graduate Center towers on Thayer Street. You all know the place. To start my graduate studies at Brown Engineering. This may be a story with which many of the current Brown graduate students, and especially those coming from faraway places, may relate to. What I mostly remember about this flight is the excitement for coming to Brown, but also being consumed by the deep fear of the unknown. Not only was this the first time that I was leaving Europe, the first time that I was coming to the US, but it was also the first time that I was arriving at the famous Brown School of Engineering, home to the world's flagship programs in the mechanics of solids and structures and in applied mathematics. This was the past home of legendary engineers, continuum mechanicians, applied mathematicians, and scientists, such as Professors Praga, Drucker, Rivling, Sternberg, Kolsky, and Milonas, figures larger than life. And at the time of my arrival, it was also the current home of the younger generation of luminaries, such as Professors Dafermos, Pipkin, Clifton, Needleman, Fongxi, Rice, and my two future PhD advisors, Duffy and Friend. I knew of all of these names from my teachers at Oxford, but knowing of their reputation made the whole thing even more terrifying to me. So let me repeat, this plane ride was indeed absolutely terrifying, but in retrospect, I would do it again and again because, as I know now, becoming a member of the wonderful Brown family has changed my life and has influenced my entire academic career. Let me elaborate. If you look at all of my mentors and closest academic collaborators throughout the years, they have all been at one time related to Brown School of Engineering, either as faculty members, past or present, or as fellow PhD students. But who are these people? These are academics from all around the globe, such as Professor G. Ravichandran and Michael Ortiz from Caltech, as well as Professor Subra Suresh, a former NSF director and now president of NTU Singapore, people with whom I still interact in an everyday basis. The list, of course, starts with my own main mentors, my two wonderful and unconditionally supportive PhD advisors, Professors Ben Friend and Jack Duffy, who were the ones that encouraged me to continue with academia and make sure that I succeeded there. Also, Professors Rod Clifton and Alan Needleman, both former deans of engineering at Brown, as well as Professor Jim Rice, who have all been my academic idols. Finally, there is also many wonderful colleagues currently at Brown, such as Professors Janet Bloom, Kyung-Suk Kim, Alan Bauer, and Yuri Basilevs, who have all been my academic brothers, sisters, and cousins throughout my professional life. In addition to these valued colleagues, there is also another special person that I want to mention today. This is my own former PhD student from Caltech, Pradeep Kuduru, who is by now a senior member of the faculty at Brown Engineering, and I'm extremely proud to count him as a close friend and colleague. Of course, what is shocking to contemplate is that Pradeep is currently of the same academic age as one of my own advisors, Ben Friend, was when I first landed in Providence, giving me an interesting sense of continuity of the Brown family in solid mechanics. Needless to say, I was so happy when Pradeep decided to make Brown his academic home. So what Brown has really given me, and it will also one day give you, the new graduate students who have recently joined engineering, is extremely special. In the last 40 years, it has given me membership in a warm and extremely generous academic family, which has defined my career, but also has made me part of a unique and very powerful school of thought in the area of mechanics of materials. This is a school of thought which is continuously evolving and whose philosophy still defines mechanics internationally and continues to make Brown famous across the globe. Please forgive me if I have rambled too much, but before I conclude, I would also like to express my gratitude to Professor Larry Lalson, the Dean of Engineering, whom I have gotten to know well in the past 10 years, and also to all of my Brown engineering colleagues for their lasting friendship, as well as for the obvious role that they have played in me receiving this wonderful recognition today. Thank you, Brown.
Okay. It's now my pleasure to introduce Brown University's President and Professor of Economics and Public Policy, Christina H. Paxson.
Good afternoon. Welcome to this commencement ceremony where you will very, very soon, it will happen, formally be awarded the degrees that you have worked so hard to achieve. Now, normally, I don't get to speak at the ceremony for the graduate students. This is the first time I've ever done it. And the reason, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be here. Usually the ceremonies for the graduate students, the medical students, and the undergraduates happen simultaneously. You split off after the main march through the gates. And by tradition, I grant degrees to our undergraduate students. So I am so happy to have the opportunity to speak with you in this most unusual of years. So let me just start by recognizing what we all know, and you've already heard this afternoon. This has been a very, very hard 14 months. Maybe longer if you have relatives who are experiencing the pandemic in China starting in the late winter. Many of you who were in one-year master's programs have barely set foot in your departments, much less had in-person meetings with your faculty members. But nonetheless, you and others in two-year master's programs, you mastered the material, and you're leaving with new knowledge and new skills despite the pandemic. Doctoral students in the lab sciences have had a year of working with masks on in odd shifts to make social distancing possible. Many of you went back to the lab during the early and most frightening days of the pandemic when we had much less knowledge about how the virus spread and how dangerous it was and how it was treated. But even in these circumstances, you kept the research going. And many of you who are doctoral students in the humanities, social sciences, and non-lab-based sciences, you worked on your dissertations without the usual in-person support networks that are so helpful when you're in the home stretch. But even so, you finished, you defended your dissertations, and now here you are today. And cutting through all this was the profound grief and anger about racism and social injustice. The murders of George Floyd and others, the terrible increases in racism and violence against Asians and Asian Americans, and political upheaval. And all of this demanded your attention. And for many of you, it made it difficult for you to focus on your work. But again, here you are, about to get your Brown degrees. Now, we've all learned a lot through this pandemic, and it's made us reevaluate how we approach challenges, big and small. And one issue I've been thinking a lot about is how, as people and as institutions and societies at large, how we use scientific information to make really important decisions. So, you've received countless letters from me and my colleagues over the past year, probably far too many. And often what we've said is, we're following the science, we're following the data. Our decisions have been grounded in the best available evidence as we've worked our way through this year. And that's certainly true. But it's really important to understand that science only gets us so far. It may guide decisions, but it rarely tells us exactly what to do in any situation. And sometimes, as we've seen over the past year, scientific information is incomplete, evolving, changing. Sometimes things are simply unknown. And when we're in this gray zone of uncertainty, we have to rely on our values. Our decisions must be scientifically grounded, but they also have to be values-based. So the question is not, what does science say we should do? But rather, given what we know about the science, what's the right thing to do? Now, I have to say that the last 14 months has felt like one big gray zone. And as my colleagues and I made decisions on behalf of the university community in the face of tremendous scientific uncertainty, it's been more important than ever to be very explicit about the values that have driven our actions. The importance of advancing knowledge through research and education, of treating people equitably, of being transparent. I think that our ability as individuals and societies to make scientifically grounded, values-based decisions and policies, this is going to be really important over the course of your lives, and for each and every one of you, not just the scientists who are here. So just think about the few of the kind of issues that we're facing now. So, we know that advances in AI can be a force for good, but these advances are raising very profound issues about privacy and security. We know that new discoveries in gene editing can lead to cures and treatments for diseases that cause terrible human suffering, and that's wonderful. But we also know that human germline editing, in which human characteristics can literally be engineered into embryos, these things pose grave, grave bioethical concerns. And we know that absent a very rapid and global shift away from fossil fuels in wealthier industrialized countries, sea level rise will have a devastating impact on some of the poorest regions in the world. So how should we account for this inequity as we try to reduce the use of fossil fuels? But, and this I think is the most important point that I want to leave with you today. If we want to solve these problems and countless others that I'm sure you can think of, we must work together. And this is scientists with humanists, with practitioners, policymakers, and educators. We need computer scientists who can work with and talk to policymakers. We need biologists who learn from philosophers and environmental scientists collaborating with artists to communicate with the rest of the world. If we don't reach across these divides, we risk having science become detached from human values and public policy and discourse becoming detached from science. And both of these things are risks that we can't afford to take. And so we need you, right? And it was already a point that was made earlier this afternoon. You are now among the most highly educated people on the planet, right? A very small, tiny fraction of the world's population. And so we need you to step up and take responsibility for addressing these issues and others, and you have to do it together, right, across the divide. So I want y'all to look around and say, yeah, I can see some friends over there even with masks on, but these are the people who literally or symbolically are going to be your peers for life. So that's the end of my lecture. This is a day to reflect on the responsibilities ahead of you. It's also a day of great joy to celebrate your incredible accomplishments that have led you to become graduates, very soon to become graduates of the great Brown graduate class of 2021. So give yourself a round of applause. And looking out at you today, even with those masks on, I can see that you are more than ready to take on your next adventures. I hope that you will leave this place knowing that we're proud of you, we love you, we hope you come back often, and we wish you long and happy lives of meaning and purpose. Congratulations, class of 2021. And now you will be awarded your degrees. Yeah.
We're turning now to the conferral of the master's degrees.
So I will start by, let me just explain, the fellows of the Brown University Corporation officially confer degrees to our graduating students. So in this first part, I ask a symbolic fellow, who I think will appear on that screen. If he doesn't, it's okay, for permission to give you your degrees. So qui honorandi, homines quota gradum magistri idoneos comperimus, vomus praesentimus et eos ad hoc gradum promovere liceat rogamus.
Licet et placet.
That means yes. So can the candidates for master's degrees please rise? Okay. Candidati o gradum magistri auscultabunt. Candidates for the master's degree, please listen attentively. Auctoritati mihi commissa vos a gradum magistri admitto, omniaqua iura ac privilegia adhunt gradum pertinentia vobis concito. By the authority vested in me, I confer upon you the master's degree, and I grant you all rights and privileges pertaining to this degree. Congratulations.
Madam President, I have the honor to present the recipients of the master's degree. Please remain standing while I guide you through the symbolic hooding. Take your hood off your arm and hold it so that the velvet border at the top is facing outward. Ensure that the velvet on the back is folded back so you can see your university colors. And then put it over your head. And you can, if you have a button, you can secure this little loop in the front around a button so it doesn't fall off. This is the part where everybody's hat falls off. Congratulations, master's graduates of 2021. Please be seated.
We now turn to the conferral of the degrees of Doctor of Philosophy.
Please rise if you're getting a Doctor of Philosophy degree. And again, I will ask permission to proceed. So qui honorandi homines quota gradum in philosophia doctoris idoneos comperimus, vomus praesentimus et eos ad hoc gradum promovere liceat rogamus.
Licet et placet.
Still means yes. Candidati a gradum in philosophia doctoris auscultabunt. Candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy, please listen attentively. Auctoritati mihi commissa vos a gradum in philosophia doctoria admitto, omniaqua iura ac privilegia adhunt gradum pertinentia vobis concito. By the power entrusted to me, I admit you to the rank of those who hold the Doctor of Philosophy degree, and I grant you all the rights and privileges pertaining to this degree. Congratulations.
Madam President, I have the honor to present the recipients of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. I ask that you remain standing while I lead you in a symbolic hooding. Please lift the hood from your arm. At the top, the velvet border should be showing outward. At the bottom, the velvet folds under so that the Brown University colors show forth. When you are ready, with the velvet out, please lift the hood over your head. And you may fasten the loop to the button. Congratulations on receiving your doctoral degrees. You may be seated.
I'd like to thank President Paxson, my fellow deans, and the terrific staff from the Graduate School and University Events and Conference Services for helping to make this such a successful event. Graduates, as you go out into the world to serve, in the words of Brown's charter, with usefulness and reputation, we hope you will stay connected to your peers, your mentors, your programs in the graduate school. I'm confident you will become leaders in your fields and continue to make meaningful contributions to society and to the world. You are now and will remain an integral part of this university and its tradition. I now proclaim Octiratata, mi commissa declaro cerimonia terminata. Congratulations. The ceremony will now conclude with a short video, a benediction, and the alma mater. Afterwards, you will have the opportunity to recess through the Van Wickle gates. I now invite Chancellor Menkov to introduce our next video.
Good afternoon, everyone, and congratulations to all. I'm Sam Menkov, Chancellor of our great university, and it is my pleasure to introduce the Expressions of Joy video created by graduating seniors, graduate students, and medical students celebrating their graduations and reflecting on their time at Brown. Let's all enjoy it together.
Class of 2021, we made it. It was tough, and we made it through this. If we can do this, we're gonna do great things, so don't even worry about it.
The distance wasn't really felt, and I think that's really what brought me joy, just still being in touch with all these very amazing people I met at Brown.
Community is not limited by geography, and so we are in this together.
Every week I would have a game night where I would run a Dungeons & Dragons game to start the new week off strong, because that's what you need. You need these little human moments that kind of keep you going.
We all have to be there for one another when so many things are changing and we're kind of like unsure about what's next. So I think in a way this has made our friendships a lot stronger.
We were really all just with each other 24 hours a day, and we got really, really close, and I'm super thankful for that group of friends. So shout out Noah, Phil, Tim, and Gracie, Flynn, you guys are all awesome.
So concentrating in ethnic studies has been such a transformative experience. And this sounds very cliche for me to say, but it really has taught me how to love myself. And I think that's especially because I've learned so much about histories that relate to me and my personal experiences as a Black woman.
Thank you to Chaplain Janet Cooper Nelson for being a wonderful mentor, an unending source of wisdom for me.
Huge shout out to Hillel, the Center for Jewish Life on campus, that has been a huge support for me during my time here.
All of the amazing people I've met from different backgrounds, different countries, political orientations, different racial and ethnic backgrounds, etc., that you can only find in a place like Brown is incredible.
Being able to cook authentic Vietnamese food with friends, but also learn about other people's cultures while we're cooking together. Those are the experiences that I'll bring with me once I leave Brown.
Shout out dining services, giving that love through food and seeing us and sustaining us.
Brown took care of us, as did Lifespan, considering us healthcare workers, and making sure that as we went out there and helped fight the pandemic, even in a learner's capacity, that we were taken care of and that we were thought of as members of the team.
To the rugby boys, love the boys, love the sand, love grinding it with Dave. What a coach. I would just say keep going for it, boys. We have a good group of committed lads.
I would like to shout out Brown Women's Lacrosse and the Doghouse. A shout out to Bluno, I miss you.
Garrett, Ryan, Mako, Zanab, Kylie, Carlin, and Clara. I love you guys. You guys are the best and you just made my year.
Small moments like today where there's a lot of people in the main green and I'm able to come and connect with my friends and get free ice cream. One of my friends and I have a standing appointment every Friday night to have pasta and watch a movie together, and that's been really, really important to just spend that time.
Very intentional, cute Zoom calls that I've had specifically with the You Fly Cuties of Color, which is the undocumented, first-gen, low-income, queer, trans, people of color Zoom.
Brown has taught me a lot about how important it is to be nice and be accepting to the people around you. I think that's going to be useful, especially in the world we're living in now.
One of the greatest joys I had in this challenging year was planning a series of 15 extraordinary speaker events with the Fashion of Brown team to spread some inspiration and community around campus and even around the world.
The knowledge that we gain here, we can and should translate into service.
Seeing how our community of EMTs has come together and changed what we do so much to support the campus.
Kingsley, Blessing, Ray, Robbie, Evan, I love y'all till I die. That's it.
Wherever you are in the world, besides English, I only know how to say it in my native French, but félicitations, félicitaciones. Congratulations, everyone.
Cherish what you have at the moment and just enjoy what life has to offer to you.
Life is too precious to spend time doing things we don't enjoy. So spend time with those who you love, tell them you love them, and spend time doing the things that you love to do.
Congratulations, you did it.
I'd ask you to give the benediction. Please stand and remain standing through the alma mater. You may then be seated until your section is dismissed to recess through the gates.
The psalmist declares, "Teach us to number our days, such that we may obtain a heart of wisdom." You, who we're celebrating here today, have counted years worth of days here at Brown, obtaining minds of wisdom. Your degrees attest to that, but obtaining a heart of wisdom, that comes in internalizing just how far you've come. A heart of wisdom knows that we are more than our degrees, that we are loved, that we are capable, that we are strong. And as was said today here by Sonia Brooks and also by President Paxson, that you are strongest together. A heart of wisdom enables us to maintain groundedness and equanimity in the face of anything life throws our way. The blessings with which we'll conclude today are a formula for nurturing just such a heart. And they're particularly apt in a year in which life's precariousness has been felt ever so poignantly. This closing prayer is known as the priestly benediction, and it conveys three sorts of blessings: for physical or material well-being, for mental and spiritual well-being, and for the peace that comes in experiencing the prior two. This tripartite blessing is the very first official prayer in the Bible, and it's fitting that it appears as the Israelites are deep within the wilderness. The wilderness is a physical space of wandering and journeying that comes to represent all stages of transition, so often fraught with anxiety. This priestly benediction was designed to get the Israelites through just such a time, and we pray that it will send you off with the strength and faith in yourselves needed to encourage you to do what Dr. Akhbari encouraged today: when they call, to show up, and when they don't call, to lead. So I invite all those who have loving blessings for these graduates, wherever you are, the platform party included if you'd like, to raise up your hands and be sending whatever blessings you have for this incredible class. You can raise them up and send them to one another too if you'd like, or just close your eyes and feel the blessings. These blessings for safety, for love, and peace. Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha. May you be blessed and protected. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May divine light shine upon you grace and love. Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'asem lecha shalom. May God's countenance be lifted toward you and bring you peace always. Congratulations, felicidades, mabruk, mubarak pashe, mazal tov.
Mater, we hail thee with loyal devotion, and bring to thine altar our offerings of praise. Our hearts swell within us with joyful emotion, as the name of Old Brown in loud chorus we raise. The happiest moments of youth's fleeting hours we've passed 'neath the shade of these time-honored walls, and sorrows as transient as April's brief showers have clouded our life in Brunonia's halls.
Graduates, please remain in your spot until an usher dismisses you to walk to the Van Wickle gates.